Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, April 9th, and I'm your host, Krista McDonald. It is great to have you with us as we end another week here in Norwood. After a tense meeting Tuesday night, Thomas Brady, chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals, has resigned, making him the fourth member to leave in the past month. Brian Boudreau explains.
This is coming after their last meeting in March when member Patrick Mulvihill had strong words for the town of Norwood and eventually led to his resignation due to an ongoing personnel matter.
And I guess my question that I don't have an answer till today is, why are we having this conversation? Why is she not here? Why is this woman, who is a valuable asset to our town, not here? Who loved her position? And I'm waiting for an answer from anybody upstairs. I'm waiting for anybody to chime in on this Zoom call. Give me a good reason why this employee, who is so heralded by so many, is not in front of us and is not in the employ of the town of Norwood. I'm frustrated. I'm mad. I'm more mad than anything that she is not sticking around and not with us. And I'd love some answers, but I don't think I'm going to get them, Mr. Chairman. And I'm quite frankly upset about that. Tonight's my last night, and it's a sad way to go out. But I got to stick up for my friends, and the way she was treated wasn't right.
Tuesday night, Thomas Brady brought the matter up again and, similar to his former board member, had some strong words regarding the situation.
So I will start over. Sadly, I'm disgusted with the entire incident regarding our former administrative assistant, Ramonda Morgan. She was the nucleus of our board, and to know that she was subjected to disparaging racial remarks in her workplace, and to know that she received no support whatsoever from the town administration or any elected officials is disheartening, to say the least. The other victim in this case, who's yet to be publicly named and won't be by me, was also subjecting to disparaging and misogynistic comments by the same individual. The course of action taken by the powers that be was, in my opinion, so weak, I will not be complicit in a conspiracy that practically condones this type of behavior. I will be retiring from the board upon the completion of this meeting tonight. And I'll tell you right now, every African American who lives and works in this town should be pounding on the doors of town hall and ask what happened here. Every female who lives or works in...
Tom, you muted yourself somehow.
Under the advice of town council, I have been requested to mute you.
Really?
Yeah.
So really,
I apologize to
Are you
so the First
serious?
Amendment doesn't...
Really?
Excuse me, I'll do the talking. I'll do the talking. So I don't have the authority to exercise my First Amendment right?
Mr. Chairman, again, I want to caution the board and the chairman that your comments have become and crossed the line, frankly, to into the personnel matters that are strictly confidential. I have advised Mr. Collins that if that's the case, that we need to mute those comments. I'm certainly happy to have you proceed, but I need to once again caution you that it's not appropriate to be talking about individuals when making allegations relative to personnel matters.
Dave, there's no allegation here, and I haven't named any individual. There's no allegation. It's been adjudicated, as you're well aware of. Okay, and I do have a First Amendment right to be here, which definitely supersedes the confidentiality of an executive session that I wasn't part of. Okay, continuing. Any woman who has a shred of self-respect should be knocking on the door of town hall asking why some individuals think they should be home knitting instead of making valid suggestions on subjects that they're more than qualified to comment on.
Along with the resignments of Brady and Mulvihill during the previous two meetings, board members Jack Perry and Phil Riley also resigned, citing other reasons. The zoning board is currently left with only 2 full-time members and without a chair. There are a number of associate members eligible to be appointed to full-time. The Zoning Board of Appeals is in charge of hearing and deciding on applications regarding special permits, variances, comprehensive permits, and other appeals. To watch the full zoning board meeting, go to www.norwoodcommunitymedia.org and search Zoning Board under the On Demand section. For Norwood News, I'm Brian Boudreau.
Thanks, Brian. Saturday night, the police department received calls of shots fired at Workman's Hall on Wilson Street in Norwood. Officers arrived to find 4 bullet holes in the front door of the hall. Deputy Chief Padden explains more.
Around 9:15, we got a call for shots fired in the area, and 2 of our officers responded right away, Officer Bishop and Officer Osowski. They were there immediately. They spoke to some witnesses out front, and the witnesses had told them basically that a patron that had been there earlier got into a conflict with one of the bartenders. It seems that he had been there and decided he wanted to leave, and when he was trying to get on his motorcycle, he tipped the motorcycle over. So a couple of the patrons came out, and they attempted to help him to get his bike back squared away. They brought him inside, they called a ride for him, and a confrontation broke out with the bartender. And then they asked him to step outside. He became upset, and what ended up happening was he worked himself into a little bit of a frenzy of anger and decided that he wanted to shoot the door with a .45 caliber pistol that he had been carrying. So he shot the door 4 times. 2 of the bullets went through and hit the back wall, so it was good that nobody was in that area. The way the vestibule is set up, there were no patrons there, and 2 of the rounds were stuck in the door itself. So once we determined who he was, because he had left his phone and his motorcycle behind, we put out a broadcast on the Baypern Police Area Network. Westwood Police spotted his vehicle. His wife had come to pick him up, and they pulled him over. They placed him in custody. They recovered a .45 caliber pistol and a .380 caliber pistol from Mr. Mayor of Dedham. He was brought back to Norwood PD. We booked him here for assault with a dangerous weapon, malicious destruction of property, firearm while intoxicated, and a few other charges. Fortunately, there was nobody injured. The officers did a great job responding. Pretty much our whole shift had gone up there. Detective Lopes and Detective Sergeant McDonough came later after the incident, and they processed all the evidence. They recovered the bullets and the shell casings. I showed up, spoke to everybody. It was a great job done by the Norwood Police and with the help of the Westwood Police.
Great job by all the police officers who responded to that call. On Monday, the fire department received a call of an outdoor fire in the area of Garden Parkway and Countryside Lane. Firefighter O'Malley explains the response.
On Monday, April 5th at approximately 3:15 p.m., Norwood Fire Dispatch received a call for a report of an outside fire, the area of Countryside Lane and Morningside Drive. Typical response to a brush fire would be our Squad 1. Due to the number of calls and reports of multiple structures being threatened, a full first alarm assignment was dispatched by Dispatcher de Blasi. That consisted of a shift commander, 2 engines, and a ladder. On arrival, companies found about 1 acre actively burning with a heavy fire front heading towards Morningside Drive. So Engine 5 arrived on scene first. They found about a 20-foot high front of fire heading down towards the Morningside Drive neighborhood. Engine 5 was able to quickly deploy an attack line, and using the 750 gallons of water on board the truck, was able to quickly knock down the fire. Engine 4 was able to secure them a water supply before they repositioned over to Countryside Drive and began extinguishing the fire that was heading towards the structures on that street. Crews were able to knock down the fire fairly quickly. However, they were on scene for about 2 hours overhauling and chasing hot spots. There were no injuries to any occupants or firefighters, no damage to any structures. We'd just like to take this opportunity to remind the public that if you are going to be burning brush, that you have to have a permit, which you can pick up at the fire station at 135 Manhattan Street, and you have to call every morning to check to make sure that burning is going to be allowed that day.
Great work by Shift 1 to quickly put out that fire. Stay tuned after this break for some news from Rojo Gas Station and Car Wash and an update on the Carillon restorations. Welcome back. One of Norwood's busiest gas stations and car washes is getting a full overhaul. Rojo's, located on Route 1, is currently undergoing an extensive renovation of its gas pumps and vehicle inspection bay. There will also be a full convenience store located on the premises after construction is completed. General Manager John Shelby Jr. is excited for the transformation of his family's business.
So right now we're currently replacing everything to do with our fueling infrastructure. We wanted to do what's best for the customers and update the site to bring it into the future. So we're doing the two main parts of the project are the outside and the inside. Outside is all new dispensers, all new underground tanks, and the actual flow of the site. We basically had two main customer feedback issues that were told to us. One was they want a convenience store here because they like our cheap gas, but they also want to be able to grab something to go. And the second feedback issue or item we received from our customers was the flow. We used to have pumps and dispensers that were straight in line. So on a busy day, customers would have to parallel park into the pumping island, and they kind of didn't like that. So the more modern approach is dive-ins, where someone just pulls straight in and they're at an angle. It makes the customer flow a little better and just easier and less hectic to parallel park.
While it'll take some time for the new pumps to be installed and renovations to be complete, Shelby is confident that the improvements will be well worth the wait.
I think we're going to be probably around June 14th to June 21st, one of those around that date. Of course, any sort of construction delays that come about could delay that, but I'm pretty always, my glass is always half full, so I think June 14th, June 21 will be the day we can get back to serving the community. We're keeping the car washes open. There may be a day here or a day there we have to close to pave some of the lot or do some work, but we're keeping them open, and we're trying to plan that work during bad weather too. We're going to have our vacuums now be free to any of our unlimited members, and if you buy a car wash, you'll be able to get a vacuum barcode to use. So it's still, if you want to come and vacuum and nothing else, that's fine. That's paid for, but we're going to add another value add onto our customers. So if you buy a car wash, or more importantly, a part of our Unlimited Club, you can vacuum as much as you want. And then lastly, we'll be getting back to our inspection. So I know we've had a lot of people asking us about when our inspection bay will be open. That'll be in that June 14th, June 21 timeline as well.
Rojo President Diane Shelby is also excited for the new addition to the Rojo's lot and grateful to the business's faithful patrons.
We couldn't do what we're doing if we didn't have our loyal customers, and I really want to say thank you so much for being a patron of ours, and hopefully we can get this project done sooner than later. It's like a reunion too. I have to say, every time I go out in my lot, I see people from high school, from the Little League field, from all the restaurants in Norwood. It's like a reunion, and I love it. And I just want to thank all of you people for being here, and the fleet accounts and all that. I just want to say thank you so much, and we'll see you soon. It's all going to be for the better.
NCM will provide further updates as Rojo's construction continues. You can also learn more about the Rojo Car Wash by visiting their website and Facebook page, or just give them a call. Last year, Earth Day events in Norwood were canceled amid the coronavirus pandemic. But this year, Progress Norwood is back with a great lineup of events leading up to Earth Day on April 22nd and the town cleanup on April 24th. Katie Neal Rizzo and Heather Olens of Progress Norwood have all the information.
Hi, I'm Katie Neal Rizzo from Progress Norwood, and I'm here to talk to you today about some of the Earth Day events we have going on this month. This Thursday, through the library sustainability series, we have a virtual talk with Norwood native and BU professor Willie Rodriguez. He's going to be talking about the issue of environmental justice and how it affects certain areas of Norwood. You can register for that virtual talk on the library website. Later on in the month, towards Earth Day itself, starting Thursday, April 22nd, actual Earth Day, that evening at 7 o'clock p.m., again through the library, we have a virtual talk with a woman from Blue Stem Natives. She's going to talk to us about the importance of using native plants and gardening in our yards. Again, the registration is done through the Morrill Memorial Library. Friday, April 23rd, the library is going to be having an Earth Day themed take and make craft for kids. You can check out the library's website for that information. Saturday, we have the rain barrel pickup. Right now, we're doing a rain barrel sale through the Great American Rain Barrel Association, and Heather Allens is going to talk to you about that shortly. Pickup will be Saturday, April 24th from 9 to 11 at the Winter Street Composting Center. And then Sunday is our annual Norwood Earth Day cleanup. As of right now, we have 11 sites around town that people can volunteer to help clean up. We're also looking for nominations. If you have any ideas for additional sites that you think need a little extra TLC around town, you can take an opportunity to nominate that site by visiting our website at progressnorwood.com, and feel free to add any extra parks or playgrounds or locations around town that you think might need some extra attention.
Hi, I'm Heather Allens from Progress Norwood, and I am excited to talk to you a little bit about rain barrels. So we use a lot of water in our homes. Over 67% of metered public water supply in Massachusetts is residential. And in eastern Massachusetts suburbs, up to 50% of that water can actually be outdoor water use. So given the increasing occurrence of droughts, it's a really great time to be thinking about ways that we can reduce our outdoor water use in our homes. And rain barrels are one example of that. So this is a rain barrel. The one that I bought last year looks a little different than that, but basically you put this in your home and you put it right under your downspout. And so you can just use a hacksaw right under your downspout. You can get a little J-arm and the water can just sort of spill out. The Great American Rain Barrel group that we're working with also has these nice diverters that you install, and they sort of fold down and slow the water supply. The barrel that I have has a screw lid with holes in it, and there's mesh on the top, so as it rains, the water that falls on your roof fills up the rain barrel. The one that I have has two different positions for spouts. So if you wanted to fill a watering can, you could install the spigot in the upper spout. If you want to if you want to be able to use more of the water, you can use the bottom one. And basically, you can, any place, if you attach a hose, any gardens that are downhill of your rain barrel, gravity will just allow the water to flow from your barrel into your gardens. So in my house, the gardens that are uphill, we use the upper spigot and fill up our watering cans, and then we have part of our gardens that are downhill, and so we can attach the hose and just use that automatically. And it really decreases the amount of water that we use during the summer, especially to water our gardens. So if you're interested in purchasing a rain barrel as part of our Earth Day week celebrations, you can go to the DPW website, and there's a link there. You can also go to the Great American Rain Barrel website, and there's a button for community projects, and you can just click there and search for Norwood, or you can find a link on the Progress Norwood Facebook page. And the fun thing about Great American Rain Barrel barrels is that they're actually repurposed food grade plastic from all of imports. So you're also repurposing and decreasing plastic waste at the same time.
A couple months back, Norwood News was on site at Town Hall where the first phase of the Carolyn Restoration Project began. This week, Lee Leach is back on Norwood News to provide an update on the tower's interior blast cleaning process.
This is Lee Leach coming from the tower at Norwood Town Hall and the Carolyn, and just a quick update. The activities progressing with the cleaning of the steel this week. We have a couple people here to do the sandblasting. The tower bells have been wrapped and protected from this process so that they will be unaffected by this sandblasting that's occurring this week. The sandblasting is going to take a few days. They actually started yesterday, and will continue another couple days before they finish up there. There's the process is that they'll start from the top of the tower and work their way cleaning all the steel of the old paint and the rust. And that's important because when the painters come, they'll need a clean surface to put on the steel to protect it. The process we're in right now will occur over the next several weeks, and with the culmination of the painting. After that, then the bell founder Ben Sunderland boundaries will return with the new clappers and the transmission and install those probably in the May timeframe. We're hoping to have the instrument up and functional and open initially for limited viewing sometime around 4th of July.
Thanks, Lee. That tower is going to look as good as new in no time. Now we're going to toss it over to Juliana O'Neill to find out what is happening this week around the Norwood School District.
Hi guys, I'm Juliana O'Neill, and let's take a look at some activities happening in our Norwood schools this week. There was exciting news this week as the elementary schools all came back on Monday full-time, 5 days a week. There was a lot of green at all the schools, and Principal Donna Brown explains why and recaps the day at the Callahan School.
So on Monday, April 5th, all the elementary schools returned to full in-person learning. It was a really exciting day at the Callahan. Our motto came up, I wish I could take credit, but our grade 1 teachers came up with the blue and the yellow meet to form green, and our 5th grade teacher came up with, we're going green with a new routine. So with that being said, the plan was in motion to celebrate Green Day at the Callahan. And with the help of the PTA, many parent volunteers and the teachers, students all wore green, classrooms were decorated in green. As you can see behind me, there were 300 stars put up with all the children's name together, and then each child wrote what they're most excited about returning to in-person learning. The PTA housed a breakfast for the teachers, green tablecloths, everything green, you name it, we did it. There was a huge welcome back sign on the lawn, students were given green beads, and it was just a really great feeling being back. It felt like the first day of school.
There was a lot to prepare for the return to school, and for Principal Brown, being in person is healthy for the students and what school is all about.
With our return, first and foremost was our safety protocols. We want to maintain that every student and staff member is safe returning to the building. So weeks of planning went into our April 5th return date. With that being said, we're most excited for students to be able to have that one-on-one teacher support, to be able to, when there's a question, have that question be answered right there and then, and to just feel like they're socially back with their peers and playing with their friends, and just returning to what school is like and what we all came to school for.
Students were excited when they saw all the decorations, and even more excited to see their friends in person again.
It was nice to see that everyone was coming back, and I was really happy because I got to see all my friends. Just being back to school, being able to play soccer with big teams, being able to play on the field with a big group of my friends.
In my head I said, wow, this is a lot of decorations. I was so surprised they could get that done in so little time. And in my head I was like, I can't wait to see my friends and my new classmates. I'm most excited for are probably the rocket launch and the egg drop, and I can't wait to go to my graduation and see just everyone there, and just, it'll be amazing.
At the Coakley Middle School, students took advantage of the weather and took their science outside. These students are doing some observations and drawings. And inside, these 6th graders are working on a lab experiment about condensation. Science is happening inside and out at the Coakley. It was a perfect recipe at the Cleveland School last week. One spring day, one recess, a playground full of 1st graders, all topped off with a new collection of Step and Stones equipment. And once a Cleveland student, always a Cleveland student. Police Officer Kevin McDonough was back on the football field and making plays with 5th grade students this week. It looks like Officer McDonough is having as much fun as the students. At the Willett School, they welcomed back kindergarten students to 5 full days of in-person learning. Principal Stephen Bilhard says it is great to say, see you tomorrow, and do that every afternoon of the week. With the return to 5 days of in-person learning, the Willett students now have art, music, and library into their weekly schedules. In one of the art classes this week, the students explored straight, curvy, and zigzag lines. They drew them on their page in different directions, such as horizontal, diagonal, and vertical. After practicing on one side of the page, they turned the page over and combined their small efforts of work into spring eggs and chicks. The students learned to see how different parts and shapes can be put together to create images that are instantly familiar to their eyes. This week, the LMPA students in Mrs. Tolman's class were able to work on their shapes and colors. Students were asked to verbally share which shape and color they were going to pick before they used the wand to click on the shape. Hidden under just one of the 8 shapes was a special character that the students were searching for. Students waited patiently for their turn. When the students kept finding the secret under one of the shapes on the first or second guess, they continued with additional opportunities to ensure that each child had several turns to come up to our new touch views to tap the screen. Well, that's it for the school news. There's something interesting happening in our classrooms and schools every day, and thanks to all the educators who share their news with us. Now let's go to Brian Dunn for the latest in Fall 2 sports.
Hello and welcome into the sports update for this week. My name is Brian Dunn, and we start this week, just as we did last week, highlighting another Mustang football W. This time, the Mustangs play host to the Westwood Wolverines, and we saw a glimpse over the past 2 games how dominant Norwood's running game can be. Led by a dominant offensive line and power running, Norwood cruised in the first half. Handoffs to Robbie Wachowski in goal line sets, and Christian Sales finding open space down the middle of the field. Whichever path to success you prefer, the results stayed the same. The Mustangs running in for 6 points. A strong ground game gives the Mustangs their 3rd win of the season, a 32-19 win over Westwood to remain unbeaten on the year. We'll hop over to Medway where we have Norwood Track and Field competing in a weekday meet. The Norwood Mustang boys take the W 61-25. Jake McCarthy and Dylan O'Brien go 1-2 in PRs in the 1,000, with Jake Bodenhofer placing in the top 2 in the mile run. The girls lose 58-26, with Caroline Davey getting gold in the 55 and the 300. Vivica Cord once again leading the field in the shot put, and Olivia Bodette placing 2nd in the 1,000. And this weekend, we have the 3rd leg of the 3-game Fall 2 slate for football, as the Powerhouse Action program will be an ultimate test for the Mustangs. Kickoff is at noon. Catch all the action live on NCM this Saturday. And that'll do it for me this week. Just a reminder to keep your eyes peeled in the next few weeks for announcements on spring sports broadcast coverage. A lot of sports going on in the next few weeks after April break, so stay tuned. Kristen, back to you.
Thanks, Brian. In government Monday night, the town hosted its annual elections, and this year there were 3 contested races: Planning Board, School Committee, and Library Board of Trustees. As the polls closed and the votes were calculated, the results were as follows. Sherry McLeish received 519 votes, edging out 3 other candidates to earn the seat on the Library Board of Trustees. Deborah Homewood narrowly beat Alfred Porro for a spot on the Planning Board. And in another close race, David Hiltz beat Ben Mosier for a seat on the School Committee. At Tuesday night's Selectmen meeting, the board reorganized and elected Selectman Maloney as chairman. Administrative Assistant Jess Joswick was appointed clerk. After reorganizing, the Selectmen briefly discussed town meeting articles. Selectman Hajar shared some information he gathered at an online workshop regarding ethics and conduct, and the board discussed how they can use this information to better serve the community and official committees. The Selectmen will meet again next week. Also Tuesday night, the ZBA met, and aside from the resignations of Chairman Brady and Member Riley, there were 4 cases on their agenda. They began by welcoming Mary Kate Daly, who was appointed as a new full-time member. First case was 1369 Providence Highway Realty Trust. There was a motion for a continuance for 1 month on this case, which would be the May 4th meeting. Case number 2 was motion to approve an addition on 10 Morrill Road. The third case was the 13 East Hoyle Street sign, and there was a motion to continue the case to the April 20th meeting. The final case that was discussed was an Aponset addition, which was approved by the board. Lastly, the board approved minutes from the March 2nd meeting. Their next meeting will be on April 20th. Wednesday's school committee meeting began with both Compass and AI3 revolving around the middle school building project, which includes a re-enrollment assignment involving the 5th grade. The estimated total cost to enroll the 5th grade into the new middle school would be around $14 million. John Longley and Hugh Galligan gave an update on the upcoming spring sports season, and Segal Reese gave an update on the COVID-19 case count and reminders on the travel advisory and mask wearing advice. Dave Thompson's superintendent's report reviewed the timeline for full in-person learning, with the middle school gearing up following April break, and seniors starting a phased opening for the high school on April 12th. Lunch continues to be a main focal point for the reopening.
The high school, as you know, we are going to bring back our seniors on Monday. We are still going to keep the current partial day, which is we go through the day to 11:45. Hope I'm correct on that, Dr. Galligan. Grab and go lunch. They have an hour to get home, enjoy their lunch, get some fresh air, and they come back online for a final class. Those schedules will stay in place probably until the DESE date for full in person is released. The main piece for that is we are still working out how we are going to serve over 1,000 students lunch, do it efficiently, and make sure we are doing it safely. Again, we are looking at gym and outside spaces, looking at renting tents and all those sorts of things. Those are all in the works. Grades 9, 10, and 11 will come back the Tuesday after vacation.
Other business included discussion of the long-term agenda and school committee goals. The school committee will meet again following the break on April 27th. The Conservation Commission was the other meeting on Wednesday night. The one public hearing on the agenda was the notice of intent for 64 Puritan Place. After fielding questions, the board approved the order of conditions. The commission also reviewed and approved their certificate of compliance for 937 University Ave. Toward the end of the meeting, Joe Greeley gave an update on the Norwood trails, and Holly Jones gave her conservation agent's report. The Conservation Commission is set to meet in a few weeks. For complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government channel or watch on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org. Stay tuned after this break for more town news. Welcome back. This week on NCM's Park Tour, we meet up with Rec Superintendent Travis Farley and learn all about another one of Norwood's hidden gems, located right off of Winslow Ave.
Hi Norwood, Travis Farley here with the Norwood Recreation Department off of Winslow Ave at Winslow Park, one of 9 playgrounds that the Recreation Department oversees with the DPW Department. This park actually consists of a playground that was just updated in 2009 and a ball field. We primarily use this park for our Norwood T-ball program, which is a big program for us in the spring. Youth softball, youth baseball uses it occasionally, but mostly residents come down here and use it for passive recreation. Fun tidbit about this park, it actually used to be part of Winslow Elementary School. You can see behind me, it used to be part of the playground of that elementary school, but when they closed the playground down, it's now a medical building. And we actually kept the playground, so we're very excited about it. I hope the residents take advantage of it. Now that the weather's getting good, I hope you can enjoy it, Norwood.
Thanks, Travis. Last weekend, the Rec Department hosted an Easter drive-through at the Coakley Middle School, so the children of Norwood had a chance to see the Easter Bunny.
We have our Easter Bunny drive-through today. So the families register for the drive-through. They come through, we give them a bucket, and the bucket has bubble wands, peeps, a coloring book, and some egg chalk. They go and take their picture with the bunny, they stay in their car so we're socially distant, and they head on out. It's important right now because of COVID. Everyone's been stuck in their house and is missing getting out and having good opportunities. So it gives the kids and the families a chance to come on out, see the bunny, get a socially distant picture, and stay safe. Today my job is just helping make sure everything runs smoothly, prepping the buckets for the staff to hand out, and keeping an eye on the bunny. Happy Easter! Happy Easter!
Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week, and until then, have a great weekend.